Saturday night main event needs to be canceled. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. This little special, this show, this, whatever they want to call this, it's really just a glorified episode of Raw. An atrocious glorified episode of Raw, if that. The fact is, it needs to be canceled. It carries no significance, and it's overly predictable. Just like every other Triple H C or D tier show or PLE, whatever you want to call it, are all predictable. And I'm not saying that every championship needs to change hands on every show or every PLE or anything like that. But dang it, there should have been at least one championship change tonight. Something out of the main championships. Now, we're going to get to that later, obviously, because it's rage-inducing that there isn't. But if you're not going to change any championships and you want to make it predictable, fine. But at least book it well. At least make us think that the other person that's not the champion is maybe going to win the match. At least do that. But they can't even do that, man. They can't even do that. Every match is just clear-cut predictable. There's no angst. There's no nervousness. There's no intrigue. Everything is boring. It's predictable. You could have predicted the card, the matches, the results of these matches. You could have predicted everything about this event literally 2 months ago. Literally 2 months ago. It's absurd at this point. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, it's just Saturday Night Main Event. It's just a quick little show. If it was meant to just be a quick little show, then they wouldn't be picking specific 3 or 4 dates out of the year for it to happen on. These shows only happen a few times a year now. They're going to start happening a few times a year in 2025. The reason why it's a few times a year is because they're meant to be special. They're meant to not only bring back nostalgia, but also be a special moment and event for fans in real life and fans watching at home or all over the world, because it's universally streamed and broadcasted on NBC, I'm pretty sure, along with Peacock. So there's no actual way that they intended for this to just be another glorified episode of Raw. There should have been at least a title changing hands or something interesting or something noteworthy to walk away from this show, but the only thing I walked away with was disappointment. So come on now. And quickly to add this in, apparently after Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens match, Kevin Owens, like in a special, WWE exclusive segment or whatever, Kevin Owens came out and pile drived Cody Rhodes. So pretty much Cody Rhodes is probably going to get written off of TV, I'm sure, because at the end of the year anyways, everything's taped and lost anyways. He'll be off TV for the next few weeks, and I'm sure Kevin Owens or Cody Rhodes will show up on the January 6th Raw episode, and Cody Rhodes will do some type of return after 3 weeks of, being out for the pile driver. I don't know, who cares? Now, let's get into the show. First off, we had Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. This match was awesome. All right, I'll be honest. This was absolutely awesome. The in-ring work rate in this match was incredible. Drew McIntyre, great to see him back in the ring. He's simply awesome. He can do power moves. He's got great athleticism. The Claymore kick as a finisher is simply beautiful. Sami Zayn, his moonsaults, his aerial abilities, even at this age and this far into the industry, he's still doing great moves. Him and Drew have good chemistry together. The spine busters, the power bomb counters, like I said, the moonsault creativity from Sami Zayn. I thought that it was all good. For this match to only be, I think, 10-15 minutes, this was an absolute heater of a match. I would give this a solid 8 or a 9 out of 10. This match was absolutely sensational, right? It was entertaining, it was intriguing, and it had a pretty cool ending where Drew McIntyre kind of did, he baited Sami Zayn, right? He scurried out of the ring real quickly, and then he ran right back in, waited for Sami to come back in after chasing him out there, hit a Claymore, 1, 2, 3. And all of the story arc here is basically that Drew McIntyre is going to be trying to, basically beat up every single member that was teamed on the OG Bloodline at Survivor Series because they're all bothering him. Now, it's very odd that he's going after Jimmy J and Sami. I mean, it's not their fault that they were teaming with freaking CM Punk or whatever, Roman Reigns as well and all that other stuff. Like, he's upset with Roman, it seems. I don't know where this is really coming from. Maybe it's stemming back to stuff that happened at Clash at the Castle a couple years ago, which would be a cool, story thread to tie it into. And honestly, I'm down 100% to see a feud between Roman Reigns and McIntyre. Because, Roman Reigns, I think, is undefeated versus McIntyre in one-on-ones. So that would be a cool story to explore along with Punk and everything getting involved. Rollins, too, and his ties with Roman, Punk, and Drew. That would be nice. So who knows what's going to happen, but this match was good. It's absolutely meaningless, and it had no reason to really be on this show. But it was there, and it was good. Next is when the show basically went to crap for the rest of the night. Liv Morgan fought Iyo Sky for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Now, obviously, I've been glazing recently on Iyo Sky. The last few months, she has been absolutely phenomenal. Okay, she just has. She's done amazing in-ring work. Her and Bianca had arguably the women's wrestling match of the year on Raw like about a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was simply sensational. Iyo Sky was the #1 contender for the World Championship. She's been wrestling consistently, I should say. She's been intriguing. She's getting over with the crowd in and outside of the matches and the entrances and everything like that. You can just see her growth even now, even after she's already been a WWE champion before. You can just see how she's even continuing to get even better, with the more time she's been given on TV. But all of that is nothing. It means nothing because Liv Morgan, who has contributed nothing. I am tired of the Liv Morgan hype. Her, Rhea Ripley, and Cody Rhodes are three of the most overrated wrestlers I've ever seen. There's literally no other way about it at this point. Liv Morgan is a terrible promo worker. She is a mediocre in-ring performer. And on top of that, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that she does better than Iyo Sky, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, heck, even Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte Flair, and the list goes on. There's probably a few others I'm not even thinking about. Tiffany Stratton is even better than Liv Morgan by a mile as well. I didn't even say that, but she is. Chelsea Green's close. You get what I'm saying? It's absurd. And Liv Morgan gets to win this match clean versus someone who's been doing better work than her for 4 straight months. The Rhea and Liv story is dead. And we're going to get to Rhea Ripley, miss. I took my title back. I'm going to take back my title that I never lost. Yeah. Rhea. Like, what are you doing? This is boring, man. I don't care if Rhea Ripley wins her title back. I don't care if Liv Morgan loses the belt. I don't care if she keeps the belt anymore. Everything in the women's division from top to bottom is just atrocious. And no one wants to talk about it, but the fact is the reason that we're getting Intercontinental Championship and a Women's U.S. Championship is because the fans are asking for it. If nobody asked for it, we wouldn't get it. But the reason why they're adding it in is for all of these 3 reasons. Number 1, they want to provide more intrigue to the women's division, which leads to reason number 2. The reason why we're having to add more intrigue into the women's division is because it needs more, because it's boring. It's boring. Nobody cares about this garbage. Then you have the third thing, right? The third reason why they added it in is simply because the fans were clamoring for it all over the place and all over the internet. So because of that, we now have these belts to help elevate a dead women's division on the main roster, and that's just the facts. Now let's get into this match. This match was absolutely average at best. And honestly, no, it wasn't. Sorry, it was below average. I'll be real. It's like a 4 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10 max. The in-ring work rate was mediocre. And the sad thing about all of it is that Iyo Sky is so good in the ring, and she was the only one who really did the impressive and good moves in this match. She was the only one that really made it watchable, right? But of course, we all know how this is going to end up. Liv Morgan is going to retain. So what happens is that Iyo Sky, she hits a couple moves, a springboard drop kick, a couple of 3 German suplexes back to back, all that other stuff. And then ultimately it leads to her getting caught near the ropes for some odd reason. I think Liv Morgan dodged out of her move and maybe dodged the moonsault or something like that. And then Iyo lands in the ropes or something. And then Liv Morgan hits the Oblivion. 1, 2, 3. Iyo Sky loses clean. Now let me tell you something. Liv Morgan has been built as a champion who always has to run away from the fight, who never wins clean. She just, on Monday Night Raw, she barely beat Dakota Kai using interference. She barely beat Dakota Kai using interference. Do you understand how low of a point that is? Dakota Kai is in the Intercontinental Championship Women's Tournament, where there is a bunch of jobbers all over the place, and she barely could beat Dakota Kai with interference. And she also barely beat Zelina Vega earlier this year in a World Championship match on Raw using interference. But somehow, some way, Liv Morgan is pinning Iyo Sky clean. A former WWE Women's Champion is getting pinned clean, but jobbers can't get pinned clean. Do you see how stupid this booking is? It makes no sense. I would not have called this out and been this irritated with this match. If Iyo Sky would have lost off of interference, I would have been more okay with that happening than this. This is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing in this PLE, nothing with the booking, and nothing with the execution actually adds up when you've been following the storylines. And then after this match happens, Liv Morgan's walking up the ramp, she's, celebrating and all this other nonsense, right? And then all of a sudden, this is my brutality. I am a jobber. I'm gonna take my title back that I never lost. Yeah! I'm so sick of hearing that, man. Anyways, Rhea Ripley comes out on the ramp, and she basically does that big stomp thing, and she stares at the camera and all this other nonsense, and then she faces off with Liv Morgan. What is the point of this? How many times are we going to see Liv Morgan win or lose a match or get beat up or something like that, and then Rhea Ripley's music hits, Liv looks scared and turns around and then faces off with Rhea Ripley or brawls with Rhea Ripley? It's the same story over and over and over. Oh my goodness, man. We have to get through this. Please, I do not care who wins this title. I really don't. If they wrestle at January 6th on Netflix, which is what I'm assuming this moment was setting up, if it happens, I don't care who wins. Just please move on from this story. Please move on. It is so done. It is so dead. Please move on with this garbage, man. I'm so done. Anyways, next we have the triple threat match. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Gunther. This match was mediocre, right? I'm not going to say it was garbage because it wasn't garbage, but it wasn't good either. It's a run-of-the-mill triple threat match that low-key could have taken place as a main event of Raw, and it probably would have been even better on an episode of Raw. Who knows, right? Because the commercials throughout this entire show were a little bit unbearable to a point, right? right? To a point. And another thing that I don't know if I mentioned this before, the crowd tonight was atrocious. They were atrocious. They were good for one match, and that was the opening match with Drew and Sami. Outside of that, the crowd was absolutely dead all night. They were boring, they were uninterested, and to be fair, I can't even blame them, because everything was boring and uninterested. So what do you want them to do? You know what I'm saying? They're not going to get big pops when you're getting flops running out in the ring and doing nothing. So that's that. Anyways, this triple threat match was boring, right? You had a couple decent moments. Damian Priest did like a last ride-esque move with The Undertaker, but he hit a crossbody instead of like that jumping, like diving fist to the back of the head. You had like the classic, triple threat spot they spam now, where someone's on the top rope going for a superplex, and someone goes to grab him from underneath and do a power bomb. In this case, it's the Razor's Edge move that Damian Priest does. He hits it to Gunther. Finn Balor then hits a coup de grace onto Gunther. It's like a little team-up flashback moment to Priest and Finn's old days, I guess, or whatever. And then after this happens, Damian Priest and Finn are basically fighting for a second. Damian hits the South of Heaven, and then all of a sudden, Gunther, who goes from being knocked out after being hit with 2 finishers, he rolls right back in the ring, grabs Damian Priest by his hair, throws him out, botches a move. He had to pick up Damian Priest twice pretty much, or adjust him in air, because he botched this steel step power bomb. He finally hits the power bomb, goes back in, hits Finn with a power bomb, and the match is over. This was boring. It was run of the mill. There's nothing really special about it. Gunther looked better in this match than he did in his Survivor Series match, and also in his Crown Jewel match, in my opinion, but he still didn't look that good. He's not a world championship level performer. He just isn't. He is like a couple times a year he'll put on an awesome match, but it's just not happening like that recently. Gunther, the last 5 months, or pretty much since he won the belt, has been washed. He has been washed. Right, the last great match he's done was him versus Damian at SummerSlam. Everything since then, as far as I'm concerned, has been absolutely mid or below mid. Right, except for the Sami Zayn match on Raw, I thought that was like above average. But everything else has been below mid or just bad. So, I mean, I just don't understand what's happening with this guy. It's the same thing. Powerbomb, chop, clothesline, sleeper hold, powerbomb, chop, clothesline, sleeper hold, powerbomb, chop, clothesline, sleeper hold. You see how boring that is? That's how boring his matches are. It's time now for Gunther to actually be engaging. Can he please stop wrestling these same people in the same match with the same result? With the same result! Like I said, if it's going to be predictable, make us think that Damian or Finn is going to win at least at some point in the match. They didn't do that once. Same thing with Iyo Sky. There was not one point in the match where you thought Iyo Sky was going to win the match. And on top of that, Iyo Sky busted open Liv Morgan's nose at some point in that match. I forgot to mention that. But again, either one of them messed up the move or botched it. But whatever. It is what it is. Anyways. Then after this, let me just say this actually about the triple threat real quick. Finn Balor and Damian Priest hold no significance. They're both jobbers and losers at this point. Finn Balor hasn't won a singles belt in who knows how long it's been. It's been at least 5 to 6 years maybe. I don't even know. Damian Priest, before he won the world championship, he was a glorified tag team wrestler besides his U.S. title reign back in like 2020 or 2021, whenever that crap was. So that's that. Finn and Damian are both boring. They're uninteresting. I don't care about their feud because nobody does. They're both not even that over with the crowd anymore, so just please move on from this garbage. The whole Judgment Day story is washed on both sides. The good guys, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, they're both washed. The story is washed. Move them out of the story and have them do something else. Maybe they can grow as characters or as, wrestlers. Anyways, then we get to the women's U.S. championship match, I should say. Chelsea Green versus Michin. I genuinely feel bad for Michin because last night on SmackDown, everyone was chanting Tiff feet time, because they wanted to see Tiffany face off against, Chelsea Green in the final, right? And then, every time, not even tonight, Michin goes out there, she gets absolutely zero reaction from the crowd, but again, the crowd was barely reacting all night outside of the first match because every match on this card besides Drew versus Sami was a disaster. So Michin goes out, gets no pop, she gets in the ring, everyone's chanting Chelsea Green pretty much like half the match. It really is sad at this point. Everyone chants for the person that Michin is facing against. No one ever chants Michin. Like, no one does that, dude, because nobody cares about Michin, believe it or not. It's unfortunate to say that because Michin is not the worst wrestler, but she does botch some moves. There was even multiple points in this match where Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are like, what do they say? So, yeah, she didn't get all of it, on a couple of the moves between Chelsea and Michin because they just simply weren't getting all of it. I mean, it just is what it is. They were botching a couple moves. It was a little bit slow-paced. Piper Niven was ringside, and that was kind of like a little story narrative they flipped in, but it just wasn't really that interesting of a match as far as I'm concerned. The ending I thought was decent. We all knew Chelsea Green was going to win this match, by the way, so, eventually Chelsea Green won the match. She basically flipped over Michin and hit like the unpretty her, which is basically Christian's kill switch that he used to hit, but she hits it obviously much worse. She could have, rolled into it and hit it all in one motion, but she landed first and then jumped and hit it, and it was a decent ending to the match. Chelsea Green's the first U.S. Women's Champion. I mean, hey, this is a history-making moment for the company, so congratulations to Chelsea Green on getting this moment. But this match was a glorified SmackDown match, let's be honest with ourselves. This match would be like a middle-of-the-show match on SmackDown. You know what I mean? Their garbage match that they had a couple months ago was a lot better than this and a lot more entertaining because it was just more, it was more intriguing, right? You were more entertained by that match than you were with this. This was kind of boring, and you knew Chelsea Green was going to win the whole time, and it just didn't. At no point did you think Michin was going to win. It just didn't happen. So that's that. Then you had Cody Rhodes in the main event. This match was just a disaster. There was a disaster kick, as one would say. You know what I'm saying? It's just a disaster. This match was atrocious. Cody Rhodes at this point is probably one of the worst world champions of all time. I don't really think there's really an argument at this point, along with Gunther, of course. But Cody Rhodes is just boring. He just is. You know what I'm saying? You really see the levels to this when back then you would have champions like Cena, for example, or even Roman Reigns' recent championship reign, or even Punk's 1 year-long reign, right? There were certain points and phases of these championship reigns where you were like, okay, we know that the champion's going to retain, whether it be Cena or Roman or Punk or whatever. You know they're going to retain, but how are they going to retain, right? Punk would barely retain, the lights would cut out and the Shield would get involved, and it would make you think, oh, this person's going to win, and then something crazy happens, mysteriously someone's going through a table like The Rock did at Royal Rumble, or whatever happens and the Shield gets involved and Punk retains. You know what I'm saying? That's how you make hated heels. Roman Reigns, you would know he was going to lose a match like to Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle, but the match number 1 was phenomenal, the story in it was great, and the actual ending was unexpected and jarring, so you actually thought Drew McIntyre was going to win that championship off him, and then ended up not happening. Same thing with Roman Reigns even at WrestleMania 39 with Cody. Great match, great story, great build-up. In the ending, you actually thought Cody was going to win until the very last second. It's very simple stuff like that. With Cody Rhodes' championship reign, everything is predictable, everything is boring, the stories leading into these matches are not that good. They're not good at all. Why am I saying not that good? They're atrocious. My bad. Sorry about that. I'm not here saying it's not that good. No, they're awful. It's characterized by the fact that we literally we can probably count on our finger, like on one hand, you can count on one hand how many genuinely good to great segments that Cody Rhodes has had this year, and he's been there dang near every week all year. You see what I'm saying? It's very embarrassing. Outside of the promo he had with KO a few weeks ago, nothing in this KO and Cody feud, which has lasted back to like August, may I mind you, so it's been like 4 months, nothing makes, this feud is not engaging. It's not intriguing, and it could have been a lot better when you really think about it, right? They could have gone to each other's houses and beat each other up. Kevin Owens broke Cody Rhodes' best friend in kayfabe, and probably good friend IRL as well with Randy Orton, right? He broke his neck. And all we get from that is one heated promo in 6 weeks of build-up to this Saturday Night Main Event from the time of, like, Crown Jewel. It's absurd, man. Where is the good build-up here? This is supposed to be a blood feud. KO and Cody, oh, I hate you, I hate you, I hate this, I hate that. And then the match happens, and it's like an average KO versus Cody match. This was worse than their match at Bash in Berlin, and it wasn't even close. And the match at Bash in Berlin wasn't even great. It was just okay. It was solid. And that was a lot better than this, which was just honestly a mediocre match. And the booking was atrocious. You know what I'm saying? Cody at this point, right? A couple moments in this match I thought were pretty entertaining. First of all, I'll say this. Kevin Owens did a great job of mimicking, the stuff with Cody Rhodes' dad. He would mimic Dusty's moves. He'd mimic Cody's moves. He was doing the suck it to the crowd. KO was doing a lot of good stuff with the antics in this match and really getting over as a heel with the crowd as well, right? Just making fun of people, disrespecting people. It was pretty cool. And that's what made this match a little bit entertaining for some part. Now, one other thing I do need to add about this match, all right? Cody did hit an RKO on the announce table to Kevin Owens, which honestly was pretty cool, right? I'll take that, right? It was a nice little moment, a nice little ode to Randy Orton. But at the same point now, as I'm actually adding this section into the video, I'm actually starting to realize, why didn't they have Cody Rhodes, like, kick out of a pile driver or kick out of something or do something extra? You know what I'm saying? Something to add extra angst to this match. But as I'm actually recording, it's another thing to add on. Cody Rhodes actually got pile drived shortly after his match with Kevin Owens. So there you go. But then the final 5 minutes of the match takes place, and it's just a disaster. Cody Rhodes pretty much, right? Kevin Owens, I think, pushes him into a ref, and then Cody Rhodes gets hit with one stunner. One stunner! And Cody Rhodes is knocked out, and the crowd is counting to 10 to 15 at this point. The crowd is able to count to 10 off of one stunner. At WrestleMania 40, Roman Reigns hit how many spears? Like 3 or 4? He hit a crossroads on him too? Solo spiked him? He got super kicked by Jimmy Uso? And Cody Rhodes still kicked out. But somehow, some way, one stunner has Cody Rhodes knocked out for 10 seconds. Do you see the booking inconsistencies? It is ridiculous. That's why you can't take this stuff seriously anymore. Cody Rhodes to me is a joke of a champion. None of this stuff is legit. It's all fake booking. It's fake, it's nonsensical, and it just doesn't work. It's not entertaining when you know who's going to win the match. You know, no matter what twists and turns they're going to do, they're still going to win the match. And the twists and turns are not convincing at all. At all. As soon as Kevin Owens pushed Cody into the ref, you knew that Cody Rhodes was going to either get knocked out or hit by a finisher or get low blowed. And the ref still wasn't going to count, and Kevin Owens was no way he's going to walk out of here with the championship. And Cody came out with the Winged Eagle belt from back in the day. Congratulations. It doesn't even look exactly like the Winged Eagle belt, to be honest with you, right? It looks good, obviously. I'm not going to say it looks bad, but like, it was a cheap nostalgia pop. Nothing wrong with nostalgia. I like nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. It brings you back those memories. It brings back the good times. But at the end of the day, it's just a little cheesy, corny belt moment. It's a cheap pop moment. Outside of that, nothing else really happened. You see what I'm saying with that belt? Nobody really cares. Great. It was on the screen. Cool. It's going to probably be at the next Saturday Night Main Event, and the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. So what? But at the end of the day, KO basically gets counted to 10. A ref comes out, tries to count. Cody kicks out at the very last second. Then after this, Cody counters Kevin Owens' clothesline or something like that. And then Cody does a cross body onto the ref by accident, right? A spring. He goes for like the disaster kick, Cody cutter motion, and then accidentally hits a cross body on the ref. Ref's knocked out again. Then Kevin Owens hits Cody, brings a chair into the ring. The ref is still knocked out. Cody countered KO somehow. I forget how it happened. And then Cody hits a crossroads on KO onto the steel chair and then hits the pin because the ref that was originally knocked out is randomly back up again. And that's how the match ends. Cody wins 1, 2, 3, crossroads on the chair, boom, retains the WWE Championship in a match that was utterly predictable, utterly boring, and utterly uninteresting outside of a couple antics with KO and one super Cody cutter that Cody hit that I thought was decent. This was a disaster. It just was. It was boring and it was overplayed. At some point, you have to realize what you're doing. If Kevin Owens is going to break the best friend in kayfabe of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton and break his neck and put him in an ambulance, and then they have a heated promo a few weeks later, and you have 6 weeks from Crown Jewel to now to build up this match, and the fact that we didn't really get anything that was really blood feud level or really, up the intrigue or the hype or the value of this match leading up in those 6 weeks and even throughout these 4 months is insane. It is insane, man. I mean, how can we keep doing this? What is the point of Kevin Owens doing this good heel work over the last few months, or the last 2 months or so, just to lose to Cody? We know he's not going to beat Cody, so none of this makes any sense. And like I said, if you're going to make it predictable, at least make us think KO is going to win. We know when the ref goes down and KO knocks out Cody in the middle of the ring, we know he isn't going to win because there's no ref to count to 3. So I don't understand the intrigue of this. I really don't get it. This was a booking mess. It was very boring. It was uninteresting. And I have a graphic here that I found when I was watching the show. There's no way. I don't want to ever hear anyone say that Cody Rhodes is a John Cena schedule or a workhorse or this or that. Just look at these stats. Champion for over 250 days and only 7 title defenses. But people were freaking out that Roman Reigns had 5 or 6 title defenses in a year. But it's cool when Cody does the same amount of defenses in 1 year as well. And Cody was there every week. Roman was only there like for 5 or 6 PLEs in 2023. And I'm pretty sure he still defended his title. What? He defended it versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes at Mania 39. Then he defended it versus LA Knight later this year. Jey Uso. That's what, 5 defenses? How many defenses does Cody Rhodes have this year? 7? Are you kidding me? We're the one guy who misses 1/3 of the year off his part-time schedule is there, right, for at least a half or 2/3 of the year or whatever, defends it 5 times and everyone's crying. But this dude's there every week and defends it 7 times and everyone's cheering him. Really? Grow up. This show gets a 4 out of 10. It was an absolute disaster. The only reason it's a 4 and not worse is because the presentation was decent. It did give you a little bit of the nostalgia feel. And I thought the Drew versus Sami match was truly awesome. And, there's a couple cool things like KO's antics and a couple decent spots in the men's triple threat, but everything else was an absolute disaster from top to bottom. It was absolute garbage. They need to end this before it even starts. Stop making Saturday Night Main Events. I don't care that it happens a few times a year. You need to keep it to happening once every 15 years. How about that? 4 out of 10. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comment section below. And as always, I hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Peace out.